Welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Come and hang out for book reviews, bookish content, and nostalgic vibes. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome to She's All Books. You are in the right place if you remember the show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Hanging out with me today is Meagan Williamson. Meagan lives in Meridian, Idaho, with her husband and 3 children. After the birth of her last baby, she spent nap time writing and dreaming of sharing the kinds of stories that stay with you long after the last page, and boy, do they. She loves spending time outside, celebrating holidays, and listening to country music turned way up. Connecting with people through books is her love language. Thank you so much for being here with me, Meagan. I can't wait to connect all about your book.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy.
We will be talking a lot today about If I Never Remember. And this book just recently came out a few days ago on April 2nd. Anything that you want to share with us about the new release? How is it going? Anything you want to share with the readers?
Yeah. So this is my debut book. It has been such a journey, such a wild ride. I've learned so much in this process, but it's been so fun to share with the world. It took about 4 months to write it, but then the editing process was quite a bit longer, and it felt like so long, so I'm so happy to have it finally out and people reading it. And it's been a huge joy in my life. As you mentioned, I have 3 little kids, and I kind of got a little lost in motherhood, and it's brought me like so much joy and creativity, and it was something for me again. And so that's kind of what it's been for me, is just something for me to, have. So
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing this book with us as a reader, and for the future readers who are watching this episode. This book is one that just really stays with you. You can connect with, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it to anybody who will listen to me, who will view my Instagram, and who will watch this episode, because it is absolutely amazing. And
thank you.
When you said you wanted to write a book that will stay with somebody, I can't stop thinking about, especially the ending of this book, which we won't spoiler alert for anyone, but let's get into it. I have the teller for the nostalgic vibe. And for those of you who might be watching this episode for the first time, the paper fork item that a lot of times back in the 90s and early 2000s people would make in school and ask questions underneath each of the numbers on the inside and colors on the outside. And I have 8 questions for Meagan about her as an author, and also about the book. And we're going to dive in and answer some of these questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So first, your color options are orange, blue, green, or pink.
Okay, let's go pink. It's my favorite color.
Pink matches the chair. Absolutely. Yep. And you're going to hear me spell these colors like so many times, so I apologize about that.
It's fine.
All right, here we go. P-I-N-K. Your number choices are 3, 4, 7, and 8.
Let's go 3.
Let's go 3. Awesome. All right, question number 3 is a fill in the blank. My ideal book boyfriend is blank.
Okay. He is a cinnamon roll who's witty and puts his girl's needs first.
Love it. Absolutely. Love a man who puts his needs first. All right. Let's pick the next color. Blue, green, orange, or pink.
Let's do blue.
Blue. All right. B-L-U-E. Your number choices this time are 1, 2, 5, and 6.
Let's do 1.
All right. 1. Oh, I need to ask the question. All right. Question number 1. I'm about to keep going and have you keep guessing numbers.
You're good.
What are 3 things that readers probably don't know about you?
Okay, one thing is kind of tied to my book, and that's that Bear Lake is an actual real place. I get a lot of people who think it's a fictional place. It's actually a real place.
There you go.
And my husband has a cabin there. His family has a cabin there and he grew up going. So when we met, it was one of the first places that he took me, and we've been back with our family every year since.
That is
And so it
awesome.
just like holds a really special place in my heart.
Oh,
Another
and
thing
I saw that
is,
in the dedication for the book. Yeah, that
yeah,
was really special. Yes.
thank you. Thank you. Another thing is, let's see, I was a teacher before this. I taught third grade for a couple years and then became a stay-at-home mom for several years. And the teaching world I loved it so much. But it is so much more than a school year's amount of time. And like people say it's the best mom job. And really, I devoted my whole life to it.
Yeah.
And so it really wasn't the best mom job for me because it was so hard to balance. And so anyway, I loved it. I don't know that I will go back, but it was it was something that I was super passionate about for a long time. Um, and then I think if I didn't like something else, if I didn't get into the book world, I absolutely love like party planning, interior design, that kind of stuff. Like I'm just a creative at heart and I pour a lot of creativity in a lot of different ventures. But I think it's so fun to throw a kid birthday party. So there you go.
When I'm about to play my daughters.
You
Also, I
are?
think in the education world too. I was a fourth grade teacher and a school counselor before becoming a stay-at-home mom, and
My
now I'm
gosh.
remote for school counseling. So have a lot of similarities there. So
I was
that's
going to
awesome.
say you are right. We have a lot in common. So that's
Yes,
awesome.
I could tell from what I've gotten to know you about you through the book, and then it makes sense that we have other things in common too. But thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with us, because I think it's so, as a reader, like to learn about the authors you love a little bit deeper is just really meaningful. So thank you for sharing those with us.
You're welcome.
All right. Orange, pink, green, or blue?
Let's go green.
Green. All right. Green. And your color number options are 1, 2, 5, and 6.
Okay, let's do 6.
6. Perfect. All right. Question number 6. And I have to like write these down so I remember which ones I've done. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, all right. What are your favorite tropes to read or write?
Okay, my favorite tropes to read are friends to lovers and enemies to lovers. And favorite one to write is probably second chance. There's just something about having that, and it's in this book, having that tie to childhood or just the past in general that
Yes.
really gets me. I love reading that too. Like something about knowing they had history and that it could potentially work out in the future. Maybe the timing wasn't right or something, that they get their second chance. I love the romance genre in general, just because
Yeah.
like getting that happily ever after in the end is why I read it and why I
Yes.
write it. And
Yes.
so second chance is just that extra little like icing on the cake to have it be, it didn't work this time, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I love, there's not many tropes I've met in the romance genre that I don't love.
yeah.
But the last like 6 months, the second chance romance trope has become like my number one. And like I always say, epic love stories, like those stories that are like they just
Yes.
feel epic as you read them, like this one, that like stick with you, and you're like, oh my gosh, these people are like soulmates. It's just those two tropes, like
I got chills
I
as
don't
you
know
said
hours.
that. Soulmates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like those have been like they keep elevating in my list of favorite tropes. And then I also do love the friends to lovers, the enemies to lovers. Those books are so fun to read as well. But yes, a lot of that is in this book, which is so nice. If you're watching this episode and any of those tropes are ones that you love to read, make sure you are bumping this up on your TBR. All right, blue, pink, green, or orange?
Let's do orange.
It doesn't really show. It's so bright. Okay.
That's okay.
ORANGE. And we've got 1, 2, 5, and 6, and you've already chose 1 and 6. So 2 or 5.
Okay, let's do 2.
Okay, perfect. Question number 2. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this as we were chatting before this episode, but something that I really connected with you about this book is you mentioned that you wrote often during nap times with your youngest
Yeah.
child. I read often when I'm up at night with my daughter, when she's not sleeping. And I was wondering, we now have learned that Bear Lake is an actual place. Was there anything else that from your personal life that influenced the writing in this book?
Trying to think. Bear Lake was the huge pivotal
Yes.
like setting. Although, okay, just this is like a random side tangent. When this idea came to me, it always comes to me typically when I'm like moving in some way, usually out
Right.
walking, exercising,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I happened to be on my rowing machine when this idea came to me. And when I pictured it was the characters that came to me first. And when I pictured them, Teddy, the main character, the book opens up with her on a rope swing. And
Yes.
when it came to me, she was like getting ready to jump off a bridge, like not in a bad way, but like,
Yeah.
this big pivotal moment of like she's, amping up, and one of these guys comes across and finds her. So that kind of came to me like that. And but as I got thinking of like, where would this like bridge location be? My heart was just telling me like, write this book in Bear Lake, and there are no bridges in Bear Lake.
Right.
So it reworked itself a bit. But the setting just really, it kept coming. Like even though this idea came, it was like it really needed to be set here in Bear Lake. And I just wanted, what I love about your whole vibe is the whole nostalgia part, and that was
Yeah.
something that just really played such a huge role in this book. But I wouldn't say like that anything from the characters or anything like tied that was all new. So
Right.
mostly just the setting.
Setting. And that has a huge part of this book. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing
yeah,
that. It's always so fascinating to hear how books come to authors, or like the idea pops into the head and the planning process starts. So that's amazing that I feel like I do a lot of my best thinking on the move. So that's really interesting to
yeah,
hear that you were rowing and a lot of the
yeah.
ideas while you're in
Even
the
some
game.
moments, like some little snippets of dialogue. I was on my Instagram stories one day commenting how I was, again, working at my gym is my garage. And so I was
Yeah.
out there, and I had like 2 characters. This is the craziest thing about being an author, is you have like people speaking in your brain, like carrying on a conversation, and they just take over, and you just have to like, so I always am having my notepad on my phone
I was gonna
out,
ask, how do you type
like,
it? Yeah.
yeah, quickly writing it down because it's fleeting. If I don't write it down, it's
Yeah.
gone. And then I'm like, well, crap, what happened? But
Right.
um, yeah, it often comes when I'm on the move. So half the time I'm either having to bring something with me to write it down, or I'm having to remind myself later, like, or repeat it over and over again until I can write it down. So
That is
yeah.
awesome. So you like to write like these ideas down like with an actual pen paper, or are you like putting them in your phone app, or is it a
Most of
mixture?
the time it's in the notes app on my phone, just because your
Yeah.
phone, like my phone's always
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, but it's still, I do write some things down, but it's never, the bad thing is it's never organized. So I have like little snippets all over.
You're like
And then
putting
I'm
together.
like, well, how did that go with that? That I don't even know what order this stuff goes in.
No, that is
But
so funny. I love that. That is awesome. All right. Next question, or color for the next question. We have the pink, orange, green, blue.
let's go back to pink.
Yeah. And your color choices are 3, 4, 7, or 8.
Okay, let's do 8.
Question number 8. This is going to be hard, and I was trying to think of a way to like preface this question to make it
Yeah.
easier without spoilers.
Okay.
Can you give your like not pitch, but like your overview, your summary, tell
Yeah.
the reader or listeners, viewers about If I Never Remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a story told over the course of 7 summers, 6 in the past, 1 in the present. And it's about Teddy. She's a 19-year-old girl who got in this accident and lost her memory. The story starts several months after she's lost her memory, and she's just at a place in her life where she's pivotal moment if she's trying to figure out what to do next. And in the course of those 6 summers, she has lots of memories with these 2 boys. And in the present summer, she decides at the end of the summer, I'm going to leave Bear Lake behind. But those 2 boys come back from for the summer, and they just change everything. She has to figure out who they are and what they mean to her. And yeah.
Makes me just want to reread it again. Yeah, absolutely. It's so good. So addicting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It is such a unique concept. And when I first like picked it up and I was looking at the tropes and I was like, okay, memory loss. Like sometimes that can be just like so stressful for me as a
Yeah.
reader. Like, oh my gosh, I just want them to remember everything. But this was written just like so, like it wasn't stressful in that sense. Like it was just it's written so perfectly with these 3 characters. Okay.
That's good, because I was going to add love triangle is also part of this book. And
Yes.
I have gotten over and over and over again that love triangle is the most stressful trope ever, and people don't really love it. Of course, I
like
found that out
triangle.
after. So anyways, I'm like, I've heard that a lot about love triangle, but a little bit too with amnesia. It can be something where you're just spending the whole time in an anxious state. So
Yes.
I'm glad it
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was
Not
too
this one. No, absolutely. The way that you
anxiety
wrote
ridden.
this and the premise of this whole story, it made it just, it was so amazing. I feel like I'm scared to like drop any spoilers, but it was just, if there was any stress that I experienced, it was like a good kind, like a powerful, like I felt all of the emotions while reading this book. I mean, there were parts of it where I just wanted to cry. There were parts of it that I was
Oh,
laughing. Like there's definitely like the roller coaster of
yeah.
emotions. The stress does come, but it's not like um the bad, like the bad annoying kind of like just hurry up and figure it, it's not like that.
Yeah, I wanted it to be
The
more of
ending.
like turning points that
Yes.
right after that happens,
Yes.
something really beautiful happens after. So then you
Yeah.
feel as the reader, because that is hard as a reader, even me, when
Yes.
I read stuff and it's just so jarring and you feel like, when is it going to get better? And then,
Right.
it takes a long time. Instead, I really want it to be one of those where you have this big rush of like a big turning point, but then something on the other side is just so like powerful to like make you feel good, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You nailed it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. All right. Pink, orange, green, or blue.
Let's
There's
do
so many
green.
more questions I just can't wait to get to. What was that?
Let's do green.
Green. Awesome.
Yeah.
GREEN. 1, 2, 5, or 6. And we already did. You only have 2 left. Sorry, you have to do number 2.
Number 2. Okay, let's do it.
You only have to get on this one. Okay. So question number 2 happens to be something we just touched briefly on, and that is, can you share with the readers which tropes and any micro tropes that you can think of that are in this book? And we already talked a little bit about the love triangle and the amnesia part. Are there any other tropes or micro tropes that you want to name?
Yeah. So it's also childhood friends to lovers. There's like the element of coming of age. That's not necessarily a trope, but it's definitely coming of age. What else is in there besides love triangle and amnesia? Second chance that I talked about earlier. It's definitely a
Yeah.
second chance.
Yeah.
And then sort of it's always been you kind of vibe. Throw in some skinny dipping and some raspberry milkshakes and like all the like
Yeah.
teenage cute stuff.
Nostalgic stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It would be a perfect, like, if anyone goes to the lake, I know that sounds like cliche, but like a beach read, a summer read,
Yeah.
like an anytime read, but like it would be so fun to read this book, like as like it's just very it just brings back a lot of like those types of memories from like growing up, and it would be fun to read. If anyone's looking for like a fun like spring break read or beach read, this is.
I wrote it in the summer, and I remember this last summer, and I remember thinking like, I hope it's ready by this next summer because this is to be the perfect beach read. Like I'd love to take it with me to Bear Lake and just, yeah. So I agree.
We've got to find like a bookstore at Bear Lake that will sell this book.
Okay,
Like,
so you want to know my dream?
what is it?
So, LeBeau's that it's in the book. It's the place where they have raspberry milkshakes.
Yes.
It is a real place. Their sign literally says LeBeau's famous raspberry milkshakes on it. And behind it is this little bitty gift shop. And it has like Bear Lake sweatshirts and like candles and stuffed animals, like just random things. But so they're not technically like a bookstore, but it's a gift shop. And so it's my dream to reach out to them and have some signed copies there this summer.
Yes.
They are so small though, because small town, they're so small that they don't have like an Instagram, a Facebook, like a contact, but LeBeau's does. So I'm going to reach out to LeBeau's and say, do you know these people with the place right behind you? I need to talk to them because how cool would that be to have it there and people pick it up and be like, oh my gosh, these are the Bear Lake Plateau Mountains in the background,
Yes, that would be so perfect. We've got to figure out how to do that. If I can help, let me know. I'll call around. But that would be perfect because how often do we go on trips and like we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have brought like a book with me or like a hard, instead of just a Kindle, like I wish I would have had a paperback. Like I always love to walk around and see like what books are left at the place I'm staying or what books are at like local shops and stuff. That would be perfect.
It would be so fun.
I'm going to try to manifest this for you. I will.
Thank you.
All the guides. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Perfect. All right. We have 3 more.
Okay.
Blue, green, orange, or pink.
Let's do blue.
Blue. BLUE. Oh, wait. I'm going to have to skip those because we already answered. That's okay. And I'm sorry, we have 2 more. I am struggling with the math department tonight.
You're doing fine.
All right. We have 3, 4, 7, or 8, and you've answered 3 and 8. So your options are 4 or 7.
Okay, let's do lucky number 7.
7 it is. All right. Question number 7. Okay. This is another one where I'm like, how can I make sure that we're not... I can always throw up a spoiler alert if for some reason we get close to teetering this line, but my question for you is, because I have my own answer, but we mentioned that this book has 3 characters that we're really like following closely. It's a love triangle, one of the tropes. You don't have to say who, so we don't spoil anything, but did you have a favorite character in this book when you were writing, like a character that just like, I don't know, you connected more with or turned out to be like a favorite for you?
Well, I actually, do you want me to pick from this top 3 or it can be any character?
Anyone. It can be any of the support side characters. It can be anyone.
Okay, so it's going to actually be a side character. Teddy's dad. I just love him. Like when I was writing him, I'm just picturing him now when he's got that, soup can, like it's swirling in the air because he's terrible with technology, and like his funny comments. He was really fun amazing character to write. Yeah. He just was like the dad who just like loves you so unconditionally. But also like but also strong but he's got his own vibe. I don't know. I really loved him.
He was amazing.
If I were to pick from, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just nice when like side characters add to the story and like make it even more enjoyable, and he definitely did. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, definitely Archie Fletcher was one of my favorites. But if we're talking about like the top 3, it's so hard because there's just different things about each one. Like you do pour some of yourself in the book. None of these people are like me in my entirety or anything, but they each have a little piece of me, and that I connect with in some way. But I would have to say Reed was a really fun character to write.
Awesome.
He just, he's just so like bold and confident and fun, and I enjoyed writing him.
Awesome. Well, for the fun, we're going to go through the fortune teller, but really you only have one left. So
but
I'm going to tell you which number it's going to be answering. All right. So
Okay.
blue, green, pink, or orange?
Well, we've got to end on pink again.
Yes, love it. PINK. All right. And your only number that you have left is 4. And so I will
Let's do it.
ask you question number 4.
Okay.
Okay. So there's another book mentioned at the end of this book that is going to be coming to readers one day. And it's about
Yeah.
another character in this book who I'm not going to name because it could potentially spoil something. Outside of that book that's coming soon, that is a branch off of If I Never Remember, do you have any
Yeah.
other works in progress or ideas, like even if they're like very, very minimal baby ideas, or do you think you're going to kind of follow the line of If I Never Remember?
If I Never Remember, when I wrote it, I intended for it to be a standalone. I had no
Okay.
intentions of like making anything after. Here's the problem. I have to give everyone a happily ever after. So that's like obviously I won't give any spoilers, but
Right.
if you have a love triangle, you don't end up typically with 3 people in the
Right.
end. And so I ended that, and the person that doesn't end with her, just I had to give him a happily ever after. So my whole focus and like self right now is pouring into this story, this work in progress. But I will say, I just watched a live of another author's the other day, and she was talking about how when she gets stuck on a book, she'll swap over and work on another book. And
Yeah.
I've never tried that. And that's something that I'm so new at this. That's something that I would maybe consider trying. But a
Right.
part of me seems intimidating to me to have more than one thing going on at once. I'm typically a read one book at a time kind of girl too. So the
Yeah.
thought of like having 3 different stories at once. So I haven't like thought way ahead. Another spoiler, even though this is the first book published, I did write one other before this.
Okay.
And I tried to go the traditional publishing route with it. And that
Okay.
story still very much, I haven't forgot it. It still sticks with me at the time. So there's a chance that I will go back to that and revisit it with all that I have
Yeah.
learned and grown. Every book that I write, like I've only obviously done 2, but I've grown so much as an author
Yeah.
that I'd love to go back and revisit that. And kind of see where it goes. I'm finding that I apparently write tropes that are a little bit controversial, because that first one had unplanned pregnancy in it.
Okay.
And
One of
that
my other
tends to be,
favorite tropes. Like I
is
will
it a
read
favorite trope?
anything that has unplanned pregnancy, like anything that has that trope. And a lot of people are like you said, it's very controversial. You either love it
Love
or
it or
you
hate it.
hate it. And I have always loved it. Like I've never read a book that has a trope that I'm not, oh my God, I love this book.
Okay, Jordan, I'm writing it for you. No.
Now I'm like, oh, also like I had no idea that this existed, and I literally thought this was the first book you ever wrote. And I mean, I guess this is the first book that like you ever published, but
Yeah.
now I'm like dying to get my hands on that.
Yeah, so it was just it definitely like really stuck with me, but then like I said, I've gotten so much feedback about like, man, love triangles are so controversial in amnesia. I'm like, oh no, so maybe people don't want that first one,
No, I
but
think like, there's a lot of people who love these tropes. Yeah.
okay. So anyways, those are kind of like my ideas that are sticking with me at the moment. But I do feel like tropes really drive my creativity. And so I really would like to write potentially another Friends to Lovers. I thought about the next book, my current work in progress, sort of being an enemies to lovers, and I don't know if I'm cut out for that. I am just like the sappiest person that you'll ever meet, and so I'm
I
like
love
here
that
trying to
idea.
make them fight, and it's just not working for me. So I might just only be able to read those and not write them. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to write, but I just am like, okay, they're saying the nicest things. This is not enemies to lovers. I don't know. So
I can't wait to read this next book, and without giving spoilers away, um, as we mentioned, the love triangle, obviously there's one person who does not end with her, and I
yeah,
probably would have been happy with either male
yeah.
characters ending up with Teddy, but the one I like so badly wanted to end up with her did. So I was extremely
Yay.
I still like have a special place in my heart for the one who did not. So I can't wait to read that book, but I would just like love to be able to talk to somebody who's read this book. So if anyone's watching this has already read this book, please DM me on Instagram, because I just love, especially if you like one of the other person to end up with her, because I just like love to talk about books.
I'll tag you. I'll have to send you some people your way.
Yes.
Because there's been quite a few people. I didn't see that. Why I didn't see that coming, I don't know. I didn't see the whole Team Read, Team Miles. I don't know why. Why didn't I think of that? But all of a sudden, when reviews started coming in, people would put hashtag Team Miles or hashtag Team Read. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I've been surprised how many people are either one. Like it just, it's becoming kind of an even split. And so some of the people that are the opposite, I'll have to send them your way. You can.
Yes, please do. There's only
stories.
ever been like 3 books. I read like way many books. So I'm gonna like try to like
I love it.
how many books I read in a year. There's only been 3 books that I'm like, please, I need to find somebody. I'm begging my book club that my phone's going off like crazy across the room right now, and it's them. But I've been like, please read this book. Like I have to have somebody to talk to about it. And there's only been 3 books, and this is the 3rd one that I've ever been like begging. Like, please hurry up and read this book, because I just need to talk about it. It was so good. And
if you ever do you guys get together for your book club, or is it just like you message each other?
Virtual. Yeah, we do get together, but it's like virtual through Zoom, and we get together.
If you ever want to have me, if they read it, I will join your Zoom and we can chat about it, because I would love that. I'd love to be there.
Yeah. I'm gonna take you up on that, and we will all get together with you, because that would be so fun. And we always have differing opinions on characters and stuff, which is what I like. Like I'm so open, and I want to hear everyone. And you could probably convince me to change my mind, and that's okay. But this is one of the books where I'm just like dying to talk about. You get to pick a nostalgic game, and the most amazing ending ever was with the game, the F, Marry, Kill game at the end of this book. And I just thought that was like so perfect. So perfect. And it's so nostalgic. Amazing. I love how that was in this book, and it was like a nostalgic vibe. So the choices you get to choose from for this episode are MASH, which I do like a MASH Monday on my Instagram every Monday, to kind of convince readers to read about a book boyfriend. So it's MASH, Truth or Dare, or Never Have I Ever. And all 3 of these would have bookish twists to them and would be very appropriate for the YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, I was obsessed with MASH back in the day, so I think I'm going to choose that. Yeah, let's do it.
My paper, ready? I just dropped my pen. Should I played a lot, might still be played today for all I know, but was played a lot in the 90s and early 2000s. Kind of like a prediction for like who would you marry when you grow up, kind of thing. And I love thinking about it for book boyfriend. So we're gonna play MASH, and so you'll pick 2 in each of the categories that I name, and then I'll pick the 3rd.
Gosh.
Or
so I just pick a random someone from a book.
It can be either a person from a book. It could just be like a random name. Depending on which way you take this, I will have a little thing at the end, a little caveat.
Could I pick the 2 guys from my book?
Absolutely, yes.
Let's do that. Yes. Let's do that, because I'd love to. So let's put Miles and Reed.
Okay, perfect. I put Matt as a recent book boyfriend that I read about, and I just went ahead and added him in there.
Love it.
And that was from there's a bunch of some books I've read recently. That's the name that keeps coming up, but I will remember what it is by the time this episode airs. I feel like it was the one I just read. If we never, I think was the. Anyways, I'll be editing this part out. Okay,
that's okay.
How many? Oh wait, the next one is career or job.
In terms of for me.
for the husband / book boyfriend.
Oh, for the book boyfriend. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not think this through. Let's see. Let's do Pilot.
Okay.
And because I'm thinking of Colleen Hoover's book. Why is the book blanking my mind? But reminded me, she actually has a Miles in her book.
Yes.
So let's, you know what book I'm talking about?
The one that's supposed to be a
Ugly
movie,
Love.
right? Yes.
Ugly Love.
Yes.
Okay.
So good.
Yeah, there's a Miles Pilot in there. So let's do Pilot.
Yeah.
And what's another, even though I don't necessarily want to have a pilot husband, they're gone a lot. So, but it's fine. Pilot's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what else would be, let's do maybe some type of pro athlete, let's do a football player.
Ooh. We'll do musician.
Okay. That's actually a really good one. I would love to have a husband who sings, sings at night to me as I fall asleep. My husband, bless his heart, he's a little tone deaf, but it always makes me laugh when he sings.
Number of kids that you would have with book boy.
Let's do 2 and 3.
Okay. We'll put, remember like in elementary school, we always put like some crazy number.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna put 6.
Okay, that's better than a dozen that I probably put back in the day when I didn't realize what it takes to be a parent.
Yeah. More power to you. All right, and then the last one. One second, let me look because I just switched it up. Oh, I still did the tropes. Okay. Tropes is the last one, which was not in the classic MASH, but for all purposes of this, you pick 2 tropes and then I'll pick a third.
Okay, so I'm going to pick enemies to lovers.
Okay.
And what else? I guess I'll pick the 2 that I like to read, friends to lovers.
Okay. And I'm going to do accidental pregnancy because now it's what I'm thinking about.
I almost did that one, but I was like, oh, that's too funny.
One of my favorite accidental pregnancy books is Dr. Stanton by T.L. Swan. I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but that's a good.
I've heard of her. I feel like I've read something of hers, but I haven't read that one, so I should read it.
She has a new one coming out soon. That's another accidental pregnancy book, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for another one now.
Love it.
All right, so now we get to the squiggly part. So I'm going to start drawing the spiral until you say stop, and then we'll
okay.
It out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, I'm starting.
And stop.
Okay, it's hard because I wish I had the cool setup where you could see what I was writing as I wrote, but I'm not good at writing this way. I've lost my teacher.
Yeah. You got pretty far though.
I'm gonna count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this is going to be kind of can see it. This is backwards. I can flip that. The silent part, while I start counting these out, I will make this fast forward a bit when we do the episode. Because I have to start crossing out. So if you're new to MASH, I'm going to start counting, and then what did I say? It was 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
was it 10?
8, 9. Every 10 I cross until we're down to just 1 in each category. So I'm going to start doing that now. Sorry for the silence. I can talk and count too.
Perfect.
All right. He's not a musician. Sorry.
Oh, dang it. I remember that back in the day too, but when you would pass up what you got and you were like,
yeah,
I wanted to.
Not living in a mansion, but it's okay. We still got place. Yeah.
That's pretty average life.
Yes, exactly. Mansions are overrated.
That's right. I don't want to clean that. So
Yeah, exactly. Name is not Matt, so we're getting down there.
okay.
Ooh, it's just got interesting.
You're really making me want a Friends sweatshirt. I need to get myself a Friends sweatshirt.
Yes, absolutely. This was the Thanksgiving episode where they were like playing football. I can't remember what season it was. And I wore it for Thanksgiving this year. I was hosting, and I was like, you know what? I'm hosting. I'm gonna wear this sweatshirt, and it was perfect.
Perfection. My favorite Friends episode is the one where Ross is fine. Do you remember that? It's the
Yes, that's
one of the very last season, and he is just all upset about Rachel and Joey, and it's the best.
I love Ross. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you during MASH, but I mean not MASH, during the Paper Fortune Teller, there were some other questions that I nixed it, but I would love to know. I think I know the answer, but I would love to know if you had to pick. Well, I'm still counting this out. If you had to pick a 90s, early 2000s, kind of like clump those together, but like a nostalgic millennial song or show that best represents If I Never Remember, what would it be? And I think I know the answer, but I would like to hear you say it.
Okay, well, I got to do both a song and a show because I gave this some thought ahead of time. But
Good.
Okay, so the show is Dawson's Creek.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Yep. It's definitely Dawson's Creek. And then the song is Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. That is like, it came out in 1987.
Yes, when I post your review for this on Tuesday, which of course is 5 stars of that, obviously,
Thank you.
I will use that song in the background. That would be the most perfect song for this. Yeah.
Yep. That song, like, it's pivotal in a couple moments in the book. And so the fact that it's 1987 was when it came out, but still, it's close enough.
Oh, yeah.
To the 90s.
That is perfect. That is very millennial nostalgic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So we have your results.
Okay. I'm ready.
I can't say anything because it could be such a spoiler, so I'm just not going to. Okay.
You can tell me later. You can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the answers to our MASH book boyfriend is Reed is the book boyfriend. He is a football player. You would have 3 kids with him. The trope of this book boyfriend's book would be enemies to lovers, and he would live in a house. That was I'm saving this.
I can't wait to tell my husband about this.
Yes, that is our results for MASH, and I will just leave it at that. Awesome. So I like to end every episode with a very important question. And your question is, if you had to choose one to wear for the rest of your life, you have to choose one. It would either be butterfly hair clips, if you remember them, or the 90s black chokers, and you had to wear it every day for the rest of your life. Which one would you choose?
I'm gonna wear a black choker.
Those are bad. I see kids wearing those a lot now.
So my son, his little best friend is a girl, and she wears one every day. And when she comes over to play at my house, every time she walks in the door, I'm like, oh, I love it so much. It is so nostalgic.
I love you.
And I'm like, I just love that they came back. I mean, butterfly clips are back too.
Yes, they are. Where's them?
Yes, but I actually have this.
Yes.
I have this. Have you heard of Made by Mary? It's a jewelry shop. Anyways, they like a small shop on Instagram. Anyway, they sell chokers. They sell choker necklaces, and I didn't wear it. I almost did tonight, but I have a choker necklace from them, and they totally are coming back, and I just kind of love it.
I'm gonna check it out. I just wrote it down so that I don't forget it. Awesome. Thank you for entertaining me with that. I think I would choose the choker. They were perfect.
Yep.
Nothing against the butterfly hair clips. I have lots of pictures in those as well. All
Me
right.
too.
Well, Meagan, thank you so much for recording this episode with me. Before we sign off, can you let any of the viewers know where they can find you on Instagram or anywhere that you would like to connect with readers?
Meagan Williamson.com for website. It's author Meagan Williamson on Instagram, on TikTok. Haven't jumped into the Facebook group yet, but someday you'll find me on there with my little tagline, "Making Books a Love Language." It'll be there someday, but it's hard to run all these social media accounts all at once. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, when you make that Facebook group, I would love to be able to join that.
Thank
And I will
you.
also drop the links in the caption of this video for anyone to be able to click and connect with you and find your books.
Perfect.
I'll put the Amazon link also so that they can purchase it. And thank you again for coming on the show. I am so thankful that you were able to find time to chat about If I Never Remember. And I'm so glad that I came across this book and get to know you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me and for reading. And it's been a blast.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching this episode of She's All Books. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at She's All Books. If you're interested in appearing as a guest or partnership opportunities, please check out the links in the caption.